Hello, good morning, technically. I know this is a little bit later than normal, but it is a holiday. This is a neat holiday. Neat's not the right word. It's a holiday that's roots go back for a long time to soldiers decorating the graves of those they fought with who died in battle. Our country has seen a lot of war over the course of its history. There are national cemeteries all over our country. Of course, the most famous is probably Arlington. There are some around the world where American soldiers have fought and died for our freedom. I do believe that God has had a hand in exalting this nation to a place where His word could be spread. No nation in the history of the world has sent more missionaries or stood more at the forefront of religious freedom than this one. And that's allowed a diversity of expression of religion, and particularly Christianity, that exists nowhere else in the world, and a nation that is prosperous and rich and still fundamentally religious. It has certainly been, I think, the Lord, the Almighty, who's seen this nation rise. And that's been on the backs of people who've given their lives in service, given their lives in war, and others that we typically honor on Veterans Day or Armed Forces Day, who are currently serving in the military or who are putting their lives and their property on the line to serve. And it is good to remember all those who've done that. And I know many of you have done that. And that's a sacrifice that can't be calculated. And so we remember that today as a nation, and I think that's good. As we turn to Memorial Day and what those folks died for, I do think they fought and died for an idea, because that's really what a country is. It's an idea. Particularly along the Canadian border and some stretches of the Mexican border, you literally can't tell from the landscape the difference between one country and another. So what makes our country different than Mexico or Canada? It's the values that we hold. It's the beliefs that we are willing to fight and die for. And today's proverb speaks to that, and I hope that today we'll remember not just those who've died, but also what they were willing to die for. This idea of a nation that is upheld and exalted by righteousness. This is Proverbs 14, verse 34, and everybody knows it. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin condemns any people. I don't know what our future holds. I do know that as a country, if we don't fundamentally change, I think we're headed towards a time where we are not even giving the appearance to righteousness. And so I think it's important to tell our children and our grandchildren and our families to raise them to put their trust in God and God alone. And if that happens, then our nation will continue to stand. It's kind of like the Gabriel test. That's not the right guy. Gamaliel test, talking about the New Testament church in Acts. He said that if it was from the Lord, it would endure, and if it wasn't, it would fall no matter what they did. And I think that our nation is sort of the same way. If we put our trust and our hope in the right place, then we will continue to be a beacon of hope and freedom and opportunity, but also faith. And if we don't, none of that will last. So honor those who've died, and do that in part by continuing to promote the ideas that many of them would have died for. A love of God, and a love of country. And enjoy this day with your family. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.